Welcome, everybody. It is yet another Wednesday, our second last Wednesday, kind of unfortunately, bittersweet.
Weird. The
Yeah.
penultimate Wednesday.
Penultimate Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
That is quite the growth you got going on that lip there.
Yeah, you want the update? Yeah, it's yucky. Obviously, thank you so much, sincerely, for taking a moment to donate to my disgusting mustache. I have received donations, to which means next Wednesday, when I'm away on vacation down south, I will have this disgusting dirt stash. I don't even know if I'm going to trim it or just let it. What do you think? Should I trim it up to kind of make the lines like a bit cleaner, or should I just let it go full gross?
I want to say gross, but in fairness to Stacy, like I don't know, maybe just trim a couple rogue hairs. But
Yeah,
you got to keep as much length as possible.
fair. Should I leave one so they can be the rogue leader while I'm away?
On that note, so we had an interesting episode.
Yeah.
And you know what I want to talk about. So let me nerd out about the space battle here a little bit.
Oh, I knew you'd be. I was imagining your thoughts on this. I'm like, my boy loves space battles.
Yeah. So first and foremost, obviously, like I loved it. Like I thought it was well done, but my mind goes in a million different directions on details. So let me just regurgitate a lot of thoughts that just were going through my head. And feel free to join in or just block me out as I get going.
You talking to me or anybody watching?
Anybody watching. So first off, like I went to post a video about this, but everyone and their uncle already did. But the new kind of Imperial ship we see is the Arrestor. Which they cleverly call the Cantwell class. And it's also not the first time we've seen it. We've actually seen it in Solo. It's in the background of when he's in the Imperial Center checking out to be a cadet. At the beginning, there's a TV in the background. Yeah, it's in there. It's blurry. There was I think it was Hot Wheels put it out one time a couple of years ago. So like it's been around.
So it's like a real thing.
Yeah, it's been around, but this was the first time it was featured prominently and with a function. So it's kind of cool to see that. And they give the name of the Arrestor. Cantwell class is a nod to Colin Cantwell, who was one of the original Star Wars concept artists. In addition to Ralph McQuarrie and Joe Johnson, who did a lot of the concept art, storyboards, all that kind of stuff. So he was tasked by George Lucas to create a Star Destroyer. So
not gonna lie, that's an impressive piece of information right there.
Yeah. So what we saw was what he called a Sith carrier. Because back then they weren't the Empire yet, they were the Sith, interestingly. So eventually that design was scrapped, but they used parts of it, right? Like George wanted something, on the opening shot, he wanted something to go by the camera and just keep getting bigger and bigger and longer. I'll just stop there. But that was his idea.
I was trying to be good over here.
Yeah. And hence that's how the Star Destroyer was born. So that was an old concept art, and it made it into Solo. Again, if you blinked, you missed it. But now I guess it's featured prominently. And you know what? It's always cool to get new ships and for them to give them purpose. But I just can't help but feel
there's a but here.
No, this is me just going on a tangent now.
Okay.
So in universe, right? We already have like interdictors, like
interdictor. I'm sorry, did you
cruisers,
say interdictor? Interdicker?
Yeah. Interdicker cruisers.
Interdicker cruisers. Got it.
Interdictor.
Interdictor.
Which they're featured a lot in video games, but other than Rebels, I don't know if we've actually seen one on screen.
Okay.
But they have giant gravity wells that prevent ships from going to hyperspace.
Okay.
So again, it could have been a plausible ship to use there, which is cool. But I guess we get, I'm just in my head, I'm like, how really functional is this ship with 3 tractor beam dishes? Like, I'm sure they could create some stuff, but it just seemed, I don't know. It seemed.
So is your concern that Luthen was able to break free?
No.
You're out.
I'm gonna talk a whole about Luthen. It's to me, I don't know. It's kind of a
with a wicked name that's been only hinted at once in a movie that 4% of Star Wars people ever watched, and half of those people could even tolerate. The maneuver to escape its goal. I thought you would be full Star Destroyer rager tonight on this, and you seem not so much. As soon as that thing showed up, I'm like, oh, Tyler is full midnight right now.
Don't get me wrong.
That boy needs jogging pants.
This isn't complaints. This is just me just playing around with ideas in my head.
Sounds complaining.
No, okay. Seeing that ship, right? Remember in was it Rebels or Clone Wars that had the listening ship?
Yep.
Remember and they had like the Lobot type duo with all the computer AI listening. Mm-hmm. That's to me what that ship kind of looked. It looked like a spy surveillance ship. The fact that those dishes ended up being just tractor beams, I don't know. It seemed, in theory, it would have worked, right? They would have captured Luthen had he not been flying the most overpowered light freighter in all of Star Wars. But that's just,
which, by the way, is a badass ship, and I want to hear your take on the rest of that battle. But I mean, you got to hand it to Tony Gilroy in this case, like to release these fragments. To just like to pull into that's brilliant.
Yeah,
I'd never seen anything like that. But as soon as it released, I was like, huh, how did no one think of that?
Yeah. But yeah, just a final thought on the arrestor. Again, it's cool. I think it's a cool nod. It's just when I really thought about it, the functionality seemed a little. I thought it could have went a different direction. Is all I'm saying. But here's
no pleasing you, Mr. Powers.
Hey, I'm going to be extra picky about the things I love. And again, I'm not complaining. The scene was not ruined by any means. I really enjoyed it.
I was like,
this is just me.
A couple logs off the fire here. Like,
this is just an open discussion.
All right, that's fair.
So now my other question too is they're patrolling basically the surface of the planet that Saw is on. So like,
that's correct.
Is that just a random coincidence, or did they, I don't know, like, are they in that system looking for rebels? Again, that goes back to my thought it being, when you first see the dishes, of it being more of a listening ship than a tractor beam, because I was like, maybe they're on some hot, on the rebel, trail right now. But I'm assuming Saw's too big of a character. So I'm assuming it's just a coincidence. It's above his hideout, which again, it's a little odd. And then we have, let's stick with the ship for a second. I did love? I loved the commanding officer say, "Sir, their transponder checks out. Should we just let him go?" He's like, "Nah, we need the training.
We need the practice.
For the practice,
yeah.
Let's board him in anyway." So I love that kind of empire mentality, just being like, screw these people's rights. Yeah, let's just, we're gonna board him and pretend this is like a real exercise. So I did enjoy that part. And again, that's the writing of the show, right?
Yeah.
And then
Luthen ship,
the Fondor.
Let me have it.
It is, again, it's super badass. It's awesome. But my question to you, is it too overpowered? And let me just run down the things it can do. It has the most advanced co-pilot computer upgrade, whatever you want to call the thing.
It's pretty wild.
It was able to just generate a transponder code from a different system and planet and generate that and get it to pass the Star Stress check
on command.
On command. It has countermeasures, which I thought was a really cool, because you don't really see countermeasures in Star Wars all that often. I'm trying to think if we see them at all.
No.
We see
once you're in, you're in.
Yeah, we see throwing the garbage out, right? That happened. I'm trying to think if anyone actually had real countermeasures. It's not coming to mind if they did or not. But anyways, it was a cool little thing. And then like the overtop thing is just the laser lightsaber things on the side.
Needed? No. Wanted? Yes, please.
Yeah. Let me can I get that lightsaber upgrade on the side of my ship just in case I'm flying in between two smaller ships where my
Just in case
computer
I'm
can
buzzing the
calculate
tower.
a perfect barrel roll to wipe them all out. Again, like I'm not complaining. It was cool.
They're not even going to
But
dodge it. They're just going
yeah,
to keep coming.
yeah, that computer is going to calculate their flight paths and annihilate them. So again,
So that's what jumped out at me. It seemed like he relinquished controls during this battle
yeah, he was just basically
to
telling the ship what to do. It
to
more or less felt like.
strictly gun TIE fighters down.
Yeah. So again,
did this guy get like the Tesla upgrade package on his
Yeah.
What did they keep calling it? A heart freighter, a heartliner, or
Oh, yeah.
Harf dweller? I don't know. It just had
can't
a
remember.
wicked, it had a wicked name.
Yeah. But again, super cool ship, but like I feel like it's just so overpowered. Like it would blow the Falcon, the Ghost, like any of those other modified freighters away.
Yeah.
And like I don't know,
I
maybe
love
it's
at the end.
supposed to,
The guy
but
just standing, commanding officer just standing in the window.
yeah. Yeah. As this, the front dish is just disintegrating.
Disintegrating.
The
Just like
reflection.
what just happened here?
Yeah. Now I got to report back to my superiors. They basically have a ship that's been incapacitated because we did an unauthorized stop. Basically.
Yeah. He'll be working the desk with Cyril.
Yeah. So the other thingy I thought was interesting. Again, this isn't me complaining. This one is just Star Wars in general.
All right.
How shields work in Star Wars. So you see, like, let's use The Last Jedi, for example. You see the lasers get clearly hit the capital ships, the Radish's shields, right? You see the shield barrier hit.
Yes.
But Kylo Ren's able to just fly through the shields with his TIE silencer and nuke the bridge. So you can make the argument that, the shields are energy, are only deflect energy weapons, but can't protect against like hard projectiles, right?
Makes sense because an X-wing can fly into.
Yeah, they could fly into like a Star Destroyer's shield to be able to do damage.
Or I was even thinking back to his own ship before hyperspace.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. So there's that. I think that exists. I think that's pretty good. And by all means, in the comments, someone's a shield expert, let me know. But like, so now, for example, his countermeasure, I'm assuming those weren't energy projectiles. So were those some sort of like hard projectiles to be able to just tear through the front of that ship?
I don't think they were projectiles. Energy was drawing him in. All he did was release pieces of metal.
You think that's all that was?
Yeah.
It looked like they were all like little individual, like, I don't know.
They were just shards of metal. So energy was pulling them.
Yeah.
So he was holding his ground and then he just released these things. So they effectively sucked them into their own. That's how they knew exactly where to go. He just let them go.
You think he just released basically garbage and the truck being sucked in? Okay.
I
thought he released like some sort of weapon.
No, it was done directly for that. Obviously, like they lifted the hatch basically to let these big chunks of metal go.
Yeah,
but the energy of them coming out is really just the force, the energy of the ship pulling them in, which is why it was able to hit directly.
Yeah, no, and that makes a lot of sense.
Right?
Well,
basically pulling it down a vacuum tube.
Yeah, so if it's a physical object, then that makes a lot of sense. It fits in the rules. Okay, no, that checks out. But yeah, I know I was nitpicking on little things. It's not really nitpicking. It's just I wanted to just have a discussion about it.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
You know what I mean?
I mean, his ship is over the top, but he's over the top.
Yeah,
he is the definition of over the top. This guy's nuts.
Yeah,
this guy makes Saw Gerrera uncomfortable. Just want to put that out there. He makes Saw uncomfortable.
Do you want to jump into the Saw scene then? Since you're bringing it up.
Yeah.
So Saw is, again, we talked about how his character, the first time we saw him, is not quite Rogue One batshit crazy, but he's kind of on his way there. Like he's a little more calm and collected. We see the other shade of him this episode. He's just like full on, on something right now. He's like, gathering the troops. He's ready to run the mission. And then when Luthen wants to call it off, then he gets all like, something ain't right here with Luthen. Like,
and then he tells him about Krieger.
Yeah. And again, he's still not sure because he's like Like, what side are you playing? Like, why are you giving Krieger up? Like, did you want to intentionally send me to Krieger? What if it was me and not Krieger? And then that's
Mhm.
and then like I love how it's just a brutal honesty. He's like, because Saw knows who he is. Like, that's really the only reason why he's giving Krieger up, and he wouldn't give Saw up.
Yeah.
And it takes Saw, he eventually comes around on it. But again, I thought, man, what's his name? Skellen Skarsgård, who plays Luthen. He just kills it
He's
in every
so
scene,
good.
man. He
He's
just
so
kills it.
good. Him and Andy Serkis, in my opinion, are
Yeah.
borderline running this series.
Yeah,
Which
it's
is too
crazy
bad,
what a
because I really
very
think we'll see him again.
capable dramatic actor can actually do with material, like with
Mhm.
good writing. Like, man, and Forrest Whitaker is great as Saw. I love how he, again, he's not the full unhinged, but he's a little bit there, and I love that in his character.
Nailed it.
Because he's a little, and he even said, he's like, Saw, the decisions in your hands. I don't know what you're gonna do, but like,
Yeah.
I'm basically leaving it up to you because I have no idea what's gonna happen here.
Mhm.
So it's good. Well, I kind of wanted to see like a rally moment, be like, like, screw this. We're flying all the ships in. We're gonna save
Krieger.
Krieger's guys and try to hit the Empire hard. But
That line at the end, for the greater good, and he's like, call it what you want.
yeah,
Like,
war.
Luthen's obviously not happy about having to do this. He's obviously
No.
struggling with this.
Yeah,
But
because he's burning an entire rebel cell.
Mhm.
And you talked about sacrifice last episode. This episode was kind of like the follow through on a lot
The
of
greater
that
good.
sacrifice, right?
This is all about the greater good, this
Yeah.
episode, right?
So
you see that in Mon Mothma with her daughter learning the chants. You see that with the decision between Luthen and with what's his
Saw.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah, there seems to be, it's interesting. If I go back and watch the series again, I'll be curious to know if I can start picking out themes from each of the episodes, because this one was all about the greater good.
So we talked about it last week that Mon Mothma was likely going to give up her daughter, and we get confirmation this week that she full on is going to.
And the daughter loves the old ways.
Yeah, she loves the old ways, and like I'm assuming that's a teenager rebellious thing, rebelling against her mother is probably my guess. So she's pushing herself farther from her mother, and by doing so, she's basically walking right into what her mother doesn't even want to, what doesn't want for her, but she has no choice. Yeah. At least she's going to be, I don't know, potentially happy, her daughter, I guess, even though the mother doesn't want that for her. So it's an interesting thing, right? Like, the daughter's happy, but Mon Mothma's like absolutely gutted.
Yeah. Can't wait for the daughter to go work for the Empire.
Yeah. And just that whole scene with her talking to Val, and she's just basically bawling the whole time. Like, Genevieve O'Reilly killed it this episode. Again, not a lot to do, but just basically the confirmation that you don't, this is what I've had to do for the rebellion.
This episode was neat because you got a great mix of action, dialogue, stories that are building around.
Yep.
I liked it. You want to chat about the whole Andor scene where he almost gets caught?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, so we might as well touch on like the namesake of the show, right?
Yeah.
So we find Andor. It's him and Melshi. They're like really high. They're literally hanging on the edge of a cliff as a TIE Reaper flies by. Which, to me, that scene was really cool because that's a nod to Rogue One. Really the only place we've seen Reapers. And it's just the two of them, and I couldn't help but think the entire time. And I think Melshi asked it at the end, but like, how many of them do you actually think survived or got away? Like, I don't think it's very many. And would the Empire kill them on sight, or would they round them back up and send them back to prison?
Kill them on sight, they know how to get out.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be that understaffed going forward. I guarantee it. That's the first lesson, right?
Yeah.
In a way, they're killing off their labor that they need, but in another way, they're making an example to all future prisoners that, don't escape, or this is what happens.
And I don't think they're the only ones. There were a lot of swimmers coming out of both ends.
Yeah, I'm sure a few other got
Yeah.
away, but yeah, I don't think it turned out well for a lot of them.
No.
So we see a cool scene with two aliens. They capture them, and then they pretty much play mind games with them, and then they just let them go,
Yeah.
and then take them where they want to go. And then when they take them back to Cancun, I was cheering for you because he literally sneaks in the room, gets his money, and gets his weapons.
I can't believe it's still there.
Yeah.
He sneaks in while someone's in there.
Yeah, I knew you wanted to see that, and I was like, never in a show do they ever show that, like actually going back to an old scene to get something, and he full on goes back and gets it.
Yeah,
I loved it. Loved it. What's up, Bets?
That's what's going on, man. Or, ma'am.
Yeah.
Joe?
So he got his money, which is good. So now he has a little bit of power.
I don't think he's gonna call the prostitute back, but
no. The room.
And I love how he handed the blaster off to Milsey or whatever his name is. And I love that at the end where he's like, other people need to know. Other people need to know what's happening.
You know, I thought was a nice touch too. I don't know if this was meant to or anything, but like Cassian has a scene where he kind of stares off into the sunset. It reminded me so much of the end of Rogue One, where him and Jin just embrace and watch the Death Star blast come in. Kind
100%.
of that hopelessness feeling, but like kind of though, like, you know they've done something. So it was kind of a neat little way to end it. Yeah. So Bets, what's in store for our finale?
It's a good question. It's a great question.
Yeah, it's not going to be Gorman. I think they're saving that arc for next season.
I agree.
I think they're going to finish off the Ferrix storyline.
Yeah. I think you're going to see him come back. Cyril, I think, is going to find a way to get back to Ferrix.
He's going to get there. Yeah,
he's going to get up there and put up a fight. Yeah,
I think you're going to see all of our main characters we followed so far all end up on Ferrix for this last showdown, and it's going to be, around the funeral. There's going to be some good spy action going on probably, and then Cassian has a little bit of plot armor, right? He's not going to die. He's not going to die. He just got out of jail, so he's not going to get caught. Which does that take away from the episode? Probably not, because there's going to be a lot at stake.
Does Cyril eat it, and what happens with the spy that's been planted there is really what I want to know.
Yeah, so we got another shot of him. So last week we just got him staring at Jika, I believe, and then this week he's in there asking her questions, and now we officially see him radio in. So he's there watching, spying. I'm assuming he's Imperial, right?
Yeah, I would think so. Or ISB.
And Cassian. So we get a touching moment with, not touching. We get a sad moment. So,
oh my
Cassian's
God, the droid
dies.
Why do droids win all the time? Yeah, it was so awesome.
So I got a question for you.
Yeah.
The opening scene is like through the droid's eye, and it's looking through the glass of the drink that's on its head. But before you see it's a drink, it looks like an eye filling up with a tear. Like, that's what, when I was watching that, I'm like, oh my God, like, is the droid crying? Like, what is happening here? And then it zoomed out and it was the glass. And I was like, oh, I'm like, I wonder if that was like, intentional, display of human emotion for the droid, kind of symbolically. Because what we get is a very moping,
I think I think if there's anything that, as much as Disney has not always nailed it with Star Wars properties, I think what they've done very well is create such an emotional attachment to these droids. And I mean, literally from everything from Andor to Solo to literally every single property has had a droid that you fall in love with. Is B2 Emo lying?
Lying about what?
Yeah.
This is probably one of the first times we see a droid like really be treated like a human. Like he wants someone to stay the night with him.
To stay with him, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I see what's going on here. A lot of speculation that Marva didn't die. So you know what? I hadn't seen that, but watching it, I thought to myself, it's weird that you didn't see the death scene. It was just, it opened up with her already, gone.
And in the other episode, she was denying her meds.
Yes, but
so she could have been planting this, but then who's wrapped up in the sheet?
Yeah, you never ever see.
Someone's wrapped up and they're being taken away.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do not think that the droid is lying. I think that she is passed.
Is there any plot reason for her to stay alive? It would be my question.
She's been trying to plot to do something. We just have no idea what, because we haven't had a lot of time there, right?
Oh, you know what? I was going to say there's absolutely no reason, because all she served as kind of like an emotional point for Cassian's development. But now that you say it, the last, before she went off her meds, she was, wanted to do something to the Empire, right? Like she wanted to fight.
Yep.
What has he got here? Honestly, I think she has.
Oh.
Yeah. It'll be
yeah. I mean, it's possible that like she knows she's being watched.
Yeah, they know she's being watched, and that would be the way to get her out.
Yeah. I mean, that would be pretty that'd be pretty wild.
Yeah. So, but you know what the thing is the repercussion of this is she didn't realize Cassian was going to find out she had died and come back.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. Yeah. You know what? Now that you're saying it, and considering the genre of this show is kind of more of a spy thriller.
It's very spy. It's very Bourne.
Very Bourne.
It would not surprise me at all to see her come out of nowhere and do something absolutely ridiculous. Fakes her death.
Yeah.
To get out. And yeah.
You know what? Even if she is alive, I still think she's going to die. But maybe she gets like that one moment.
That heroic.
Right? Yeah. Which I could see. Because, yeah, when you think about it, she went from, patrolling the streets and saying she wanted to do something to she stopped taking her meds and she died. Like that was kind of very anticlimactic.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Well, it's going to have to last a whole year. It's the last one for a while. Yeah. I definitely think it's one that I'll go back and rewatch. There were so many little nuances of it.
Yeah, it was there.
The writing was so complex that
yeah. And you know what? The fact that we just talked about, the fact that she was so heavily watched, everyone knew she was under surveillance, right?
You're going to see, she comes back. You got Cassian on the ground. Cyril's showing up with that crazy Merc guy who called him from like the petroleum mines.
Scottish dude.
You're gonna have Deidre showing up. Like it could be an amazing season finale. But my gut tells me, as much as I don't want to be right, that it will end in a cliffhanger. Though it is not going to end. With
you don't think they're going to
heroic? Wow, look at this.
You don't think they're going to resolve?
They're going to sit there at the end going, "Son of a bitch."
What I know about season 2 is it's going to be time jumps, and it's going to be arcs broken into arcs like this, but the arcs aren't going to be connected like, the next day the next arc starts. Is going to be jumps between all the arcs to play out all these situations. So I feel if they're going to do that, like if there is a cliffhanger, for example, like the start of next season, would likely not pick up and answer that cliffhanger right away. You know what I mean? It's going to be a year or two down the road, would be my guess.
That's possible.
All
right. So do you want to rate it?
Yeah, hell of a reunion, possibly Luthen gets a real. Yeah, you think Luthen finally reveals? Like, there's got to be a moment where the rebels finally announce themselves. You know what I mean?
It's not here.
Yeah, Luthen's been.
That's going to be a season 2 thing, maybe. He's still at the beginning stages of his plotting.
I got one question for you. they were talking. I love how they used like buying antiques as their collectors as their way of saying, but basically they confirmed that there's an opportunity to take Cassian out on Ferrix, and
Mm-hmm.
that they should take it. So when like are is Val and Jika and Luthen are going to actively try to kill Cassian, or will it become quickly apparent they need him?
Obviously Luthen's not going to be there, but I think
You
you're
don't think
going
he's
to
going to show up on
see.
Ferrix?
No.
He's already flying right now. Like he's already out and about.
If he is, he's not going to be in the thick of it. He's staying out of sight
Yeah, I guess he
because
got boots on the ground right now.
because Andor can identify him. I think you're going to see a very brief attempt to take him out, and they're going to instantly pull that back. He's going to end up doing Andor's going to end up doing something awesome, like saving one of them, and he's going to end up in that inner circle for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, so I think we both agree the Ferrix storyline will finish off.
Yeah,
next week,
and I will be watching it on an iPad.
Yeah, which will be like it'll be like a nice little bow tie on the whole season, right? To end it kind of where it started. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we get any more bigger world, like more larger world consequences because of it. But yeah, I'm excited. Like
one last very small question.
Yeah,
going to take this all the way back to the beginning of the series. Do we find out who his sister is, and does she pop her head up before the end of the episode?
That's interesting because we haven't heard much about her now the second half of this season. You know, there's a few times he was told don't look for her or she's gone, right? But yeah, I got to, you know what? I could just see her popping up.
That might be the cliffhanger.
Yeah.
What is at the end? There's
she's
that
Imperial.
moment. Well, no, at the end, because she finds out of the death, and yeah, I agree, but I don't think Luthen is going to do it directly. Bets. I think it's going to be he's going to save Val or somebody obscenely important after they try and take him out, and then Luthen's just going to have to cave into letting this guy in.
It'll be, I wonder how much Cassian didn't really say a whole lot this episode. It was more a lot of looks, but I wonder if his experience in the prison and seeing what happened, is that enough to get him to care to fight? You know, like not just fight for himself, like fight for the rebellion, fight for a cause. Like, is that going to be enough? Or is it going to have to be something that happens to someone he cares about that'll set him off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think
agreed.
I think the prison's got him. He's like, I think he's more than 1 foot through the door right now.
Yeah.
But the problem is he's not in a position where, like, there's no rebel cell that trusts him. Right now he's just a loose end. So I think he'll do something to prove himself, and he'll be brought in, and this time he'll accept and stay versus take off, because he'll have a reason to now.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so let's give this episode a grade.
You're up first. I went last time.
So it's getting harder and harder for me to grade this show because every episode is just so good. Like, I don't want to be boring in my responses and like, it's somewhere in the mid 8s. You know what I mean? It's great. You know, it doesn't. We got a lot of cool stuff, and we got space stuff, which obviously I love. But it didn't. It was emotional, but it didn't quite hit the levels of last week's. Like,
of course not.
The thrill of the prison escape, and then the two monologues, like Andy Serkis and Luthen's at the end. Like, those speeches were just, you know. But you know, Mon Mothma and Luthen had great moments in this, and I love Cassian's escape. I love the space scene. I'm gonna go. I think this is like a solid like 8-8. I'm gonna go 8-8.
Okay. I am unfortunately the exact same number. I thought this had a little bit of everything. I thought it set up next week perfectly. The only reason I wouldn't give it higher than 8-8 is because that's getting into a crazy rating. And
Well, yeah, you got to compare.
Nothing
it to last
blew
week's,
my
right?
mind. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, last week blew my mind. Next week could. This week was just a perfect little setup.
Yeah,
It was a
I'm
very
going
good
in.
penultimate.
I'm going into next week with the expectation I'm dropping a 9 on our review.
Yeah, fair.
So hopefully I'm not. And you know what? I haven't been really let down yet. So I think it'll come true.
Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah.
All right.
But I'm super stoked. And thank you for watching, everyone. Drop a comment. Let us know what you think.
Mm-hmm.
I do obviously read all the comments, so I can respond. Let us know. And we'll see you all next week. And Ged, you'll be joining us from where are you going again? Dominican?
Be in Dominican Republic. I will be joining you. We did a test. I will be joining you from my iPad remotely. I'll be watching the season finale. I'll be watching the season finale on an iPad.
Yeah.
Luthen's ship I loved, but no, it didn't blow my mind. Andy Serkis's speech blew my mind.
Yeah.
Jumping off the bridge blew my mind. The prison escape blew my mind. I had an absolute nerdgasm looking at that ship, but there's a difference between being super fascinated by something and having your mind blown by a situation. The intention, the tension, the discomfort of the episode last week is why we rated it so well. Like, to have battle with that much uncomfort was phenomenal.
And Betts, I don't know when you joined, but we did touch all about the space battle as the first part of the review. And we did discuss how we thought, Luthen's ship was crazy overpowered.
Awesome, so good.
Yeah, and just like all the things on it are just unseen in Star Wars, to the point where it's like, yeah, this guy's unstoppable. So it'll be. I'm almost curious if his ship is going to get destroyed in season 2. A la the Razor Crest.
Oh, the Razor Crest.
Just because, man, like, it would be it's a what a weapon for the rebellion. And obviously we don't see it pass in anything down the road. So I got a feeling it's gonna go bye-bye. Yeah. But yeah. So that'll do it for us. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see y'all next week.
Cheers.